this whole also talks about in Substack as well, points to Disney princess syndrome, where social media fueled ideals prioritize drama over stability.
Yeah, and the Disney princess syndrome is interesting because if I'm to understand it correctly, it also presumes that um, your entire relationship should feel magical 24/7. And so when it doesn't feel magical 24/7, something is wrong. It sets very high expectations. And then when that thing happens, they don't feel anything. So they think that something is wrong with you. And maybe I chose wrong, and maybe this, and maybe that. And then they start chasing those endorphins that you get when you first meet someone for the first time. And they just keep chasing and chasing and chasing. I've seen stuff like that from people, and they don't recognize that we literally have chemical changes when we first meet someone, right? And that starts to dissipate over time. I think it's like around the 2 year mark, especially things are different, right? So it doesn't mean that you don't feel love for that person, but it doesn't feel like, oh, I can't sleep without talking. No, you hang up, like like you lose all that stuff, right? And that's normal, and they don't recognize that. So like we have to have a conversation. What does real love look like? What does realistic love look like? And I think we're getting advice from people who are living in a fantasy world.
Yeah, I think it goes back to your other point of like, well, what you both, Hannah and Adam said earlier about being realistic. And that love can look like so many different things, right? There is no like one way to show love. There's many ways. And I think that that's beautiful. But yeah, just being realistic about what all that looks like. And yeah, the whole fairy tale thing and it's, come on. We know that this stuff is, yeah.
It's not real life, especially when you have jobs and a mortgage and, bills and like day-to-day things. So it's like, maybe we didn't sit there across from each other and say, oh, I love this about you and I love this about you. But he emptied the litter boxes today and I cooked dinner. And that's like a realistic way that's like, hey, I love you and I'm showing up for you. It might not be glamorous, but real life isn't glamorous. Who do you want to do those everyday things with? Because that's what it is. It's not, that honeymoon phase is very, very short compared to a lifetime and a marriage with somebody. Like that's not what's going to sustain you. It's learning to appreciate the little things and show up for your spouse in the ways that they appreciate too.